Hello and welcome to the Rugby Gods podcast. I'm John Keenan, no mai haere mai. Today is June 26th and now let's talk some rugby. Alright, so it is Super Rugby Aotearoa round 3. That's going to be happening this weekend. It's the last weekend before Super Rugby AU, the Australian competition, joins the fray in July. So yeah, we've just got the 2 games to talk about for this weekend. So let's get into it. So the first game of the 2 is going to be the Blues at home to the Highlanders from Auckland. So yeah, gotta say, Blues looking really good. Both teams unbeaten. Highlanders had the bye last weekend and beat the Chiefs in the first week at home. Blues have beaten the Hurricanes at home and the Chiefs away. So yeah, Blues really setting the pace, setting the tone early on in the competition. So yeah, I'm just going to use the rugby scorecard, the rugby scoreboards, little like web page / app that stuff.co.nz, Stuff for Rugby has for us. I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. I'll also use a little bit of Super Brew, I think, just to have a look at the lineups, maybe have a look at the records of the 2 teams, what they've been doing in their last, say, 10 games against each other. So yeah, try to keep it pretty brief, see if I can add some value, have a look at a couple of sort of key areas in both games. So let's start with team news for the Blues. So the Blues have stuck with the same starting side which beat the Chiefs, with Akira Ioane again given the blindside flank duties and Dalton Papali'i on the open side. Tom Robinson, Blake Gibson and Kyle Tuinukuafe are the notable forward trio still out injured. In the backs, it's Oteri Black's show again from the 10 jersey with Beauden Barrett at fullback as part of a dangerous back 3. There's one change on the bench with Englishman Joe Marchant taking over from Matt Duffy. So basically, unchanged 15 for the Blues and just one change on the bench, Joe Marchant for Matt Duffy. Duffy hasn't really had too much to do, or they haven't really given him much involvement over the first 2 rounds, so not a huge difference there, I don't think. I believe Joe Marchant, this might be his last game. I think he had a loan, or he's on loan, or he is on loan from Harlequins, excuse me, and I think that loan finishes effectively June 30th. So unless there's been a change to his loan conditions, this might be basically his last weekend for the Blues. And that might be why they're basically giving him a shot, giving him a see you later, thanks for being around the team for the last 6 months. I think that might be why he's on the bench instead of Duffy. Let me know though if you are from the UK, Ireland, Europe. Let me know if you know any differences there in terms of Joe Marchant and if he's had a contract extension with the Blues, or if in fact I'm right and basically this is his last game for the Blues. So yeah, not too much to talk about there in the team news. Basically, it's an unchanged lineup. If we have a look up at the Chiefs, look up at the Highlanders, the away team for the game. Team news: Highlanders. Just one alteration for the Highlanders, with Scott Gregory coming in at fullback for Vilamoni Karoi. The only other changes on the bench, with Ugani Punavai coming in as back cover for Taorangi Walden. The forward combinations have been retained from the opening round win over the Chiefs, with Ash Dixon again preferred ahead of Liam Coltman at hooker, which I'm a big fan of. I believe that's a really good 1-2 punch there at hooker for the Highlanders, and I think it's nice to start with Dixon. I think he's the right kind of guy, and it's great to have essentially a peripheral All Black, perhaps the number 3, number 4, All Blacks hooker in the country at present, having him come on off the bench, maybe at half time or sometime early in the second half, depending how the Highlanders are going. So, I like that from the Highlanders, retaining what they had from a couple of weeks back, which was pretty reasonable, was very good against the Chiefs. Certainly outperformed or overperformed expectations. And then, yeah, not too much change in the backs either. Vilamoni Karoi had a little bit of a quiet night, involved with the yellow card, etc. And I think, Scott Gregory is very exciting. He's a New Zealand under 20 and New Zealand Sevens representative. So, pretty young, exciting prospect. interesting to see Sam Gilbert retain his 14 spot, his wing spot. Still no Nihi Mamaskata, still no, what's his name? Michael Collins, is that right? Yeah, still no Michael Collins. So a couple of players that you might have thought would be getting a run. I guess they're just not match fit or match ready, at present. So yeah, a little bit green though. Nariki, Jonah Nariki, exciting. Can actually even shift in and play 10. Probably won't be doing that though, especially with Bryn Gatlin on the bench behind Mitchell Hunt. But Nariki and Gilbert as your wingers, very green, and even Scott Gregory, a lot of promise, but still pretty green at the super level. So yeah, it could be a bit of a weakness for the Highlanders, especially what they're up against in terms of Caleb Clark, Mark Tillier and Boda Barrett. I mean, that's an incredibly dangerous back three for the Blues at present. So yeah, let's have a quick look. So that was just some team news. I'm just going to go to Super Brew and have a look at the starting teams quickly. Obviously not too much to talk about because there's not a lot of changes in either starting 15 or either squad. If you look at the front row there, so the Blues are going with Hodgman, Parsons and Tunga Fasi. That's a really good, Super Rugby level, front row. They're up against Johnston, Ash Dixon and Tokalai. So, Highlanders reasonable, but, that Blues, that's a quality front row from the Blues. If you go into the locks, Tuipulotu and Goodhue, up against Paddy Parkinson and Dixon. Josh Dixon, that is. Spelled differently to Ash Dixon, but said the same way. So yeah, again, I think Blues front row, Blues locks, Blues type 5, look very, very good there. If you go to the back row, for the Blues, you've got Akira Ioane, Dalton Papali'i and Hoskins Tutu. Now those three were just amazing last week. I thought they were incredible actually. Papali'i pretty much didn't really have an opposing 7 last week. Lachlan Boshier was playing 7 because there was no Kane and there was no Karpik for the Chiefs. So yeah, it could be a little bit different this week. I think Dylan Hunt will definitely provide a much sterner test for Papali'i and hopefully be a little bit more disruptive than the Chiefs were able to be. But Akira Ioane at 6 and Hoskins Tutu at 8, taking on Frizzell and Tu'u. Shannon Frizzell, peripheral All Black, I guess Dalton Papali'i 2. Hoskins Tutu, well on the way to playing his way towards something like that. And Akira Ioane again, sort of peripheral All Black 2. So a lot of good young talent, a lot of good matchups there in the back row. But again, I think you'd have to say, who's really, really achieving or performing at present. I think, I would prefer to be, on the side of, Ioane, Papali'i and Tu'u there. So, I'd say Blues kind of have it over the Highlanders almost everywhere in that forward pack. If you go to the back line, Sam Nock and Otedi Black been playing pretty well together, but there's potential to be disruptive against those two. I wouldn't say they're the most high-powered halves pairing that is playing in Super Rugby Aotearoa, and they're up against Aaron Smith and Mitchell Hunt. So on paper I think you would favour the Highlanders there, and hopefully they can really be efficient. Talking about the Highlanders, I guess Smith and Hunt can be efficient and play to their level, and that I think the Highlanders are really going to need them to. And that could be quite good for the game, or quite interesting. In the midfield for the Blues, you've got TJ Faiani and Rico Ioane. Those two have been going really well, and they're up against Theo Tompkinson and Rob Thompson. So that's a really awesome, high quality centres matchup for both teams. We just need to see who gets on top of who there. Both sides, the two players from both sides, work very well in combination. So, but again, I think you'd have tip Theo Tompkinson and Rob Thompson for just amount of time that they've been playing together now at the Highlanders over a number of seasons. And you put that together with Aaron Smith and Mitchell Hunt for a halves pairing, and perhaps the Highlanders are looking pretty reasonable in their back line. But again, you know, once you get to that back three, I think this is going to be a real weakness for the Highlanders. You know, I think the Blues are, you know, I think they're going to be pretty dominant in terms of the forward pack they've got there. And then, you know, the back three is looking a little bit shaky, I think you'd have to say, for the Highlanders. For the Blues, they've got Caleb Clark, Mark Tillier, and Boda Barrett. I mean, that's a quality back three. And they'll be up against Jonah Nariki, Sam Gilbert, and Scott Gregory. So yeah, very, very green. You know, good luck to the Highlanders there. I think, yeah, they could well be severely outmatched there. So yeah, difficult to see for the Highlanders playing away, having had that bye as well, which might be a little bit momentum killing, having that second round bye after a first round sort of upset win. Could be a difficult round 3 for them in Auckland. On the bench, just have a quick look at any sort of interest there. I think, you know, Liam Coltman coming on for Ash Dixon. That's a really great, like I said before, a really great 1-2 punch for the Highlanders hooking stocks. They've got Dan Leonard-Brown as well, who, you know, should have quite a bit of value for, as a reserve prop. Looking through the rest there, what else we got? I'm seeing Tay Walden in the 22 jersey, but I'm pretty sure that's Bryn Gatland, so I'm pretty sure the Highlanders have Kane Hamilton as backup 9. Tay Walden is actually out, according to the news I just read to you from Stuff, although he's listed here as 22 on the Super Brew page. I'm pretty sure that's out of date. Pretty sure Hamilton is your backup 9, and Bryn Gatland is your backup 10, and they've got Ngani Punivai, who's come down from Christchurch and I think the Crusaders from last year. So he'll basically be backing up the back three for the Highlanders. Again, a fairly, you know, inexperienced player, you'd have to say. On the Blue side of things, you know, like Tony Lambourne, the American New Zealander, backing up the back three. It's pretty nice. Finlay Christie is your backup 9. Harry Plummer is your backup 10 / you know, utility / second 5. And then Joe Marchant is in for Matt Duffy, and he's pretty much backing up the back 3, or certainly the wings, and maybe centre or centres. So, yeah, a little bit of energy. I can see a little bit of energy coming off the bench in the forwards for the Highlanders, but a little bit worried about the back line, or certainly the back 3, and then, you know, what they've got covering it. I think the Blues across the board have to be favoured here. They're at home. They've won 2. Yeah, so good luck to the Highlanders. I went to Otago University, so I lived in Dunedin for a number of years, but you know, haven't got huge love for the Highlanders, but, you know, respect, go Highlanders. And, you know, yeah, good luck to the Blues as well. But I think you definitely have to favour that Blues. I think you'd have to favour that Blues forward pack for sure. You know, the inside pairing for the Highlanders is very nice. The centres pairing is very nice, but the back 3 is very green, and I don't think they've got too much really to bring on in terms of bench cover or, you know, bench energy. So, you know, I think that Blues 23 looks very, very good. So yeah, pretty much just going to leave it at that. I'll come back, I guess, at the end of the 2 games, or after the second game, talking about it, and maybe I'll give you who I think is going to win the 2 games, right? So yeah, let's move on to the second game of the round, which will be the Sunday game. It's going to be the Crusaders at home to the Chiefs from Christchurch. So again, I'm just going to go through the team news for the 2 teams, and then I'll flip over to Super Brew and have a look through the actual lineups. A little bit disappointed with Super Brew there, though. I'm pretty sure their lineup is a little bit out of date. Around the Tay Walden 22, I'm pretty sure Bryn Gatland will be the 22 for the Highlanders, which is actually probably a good thing, I think. But let's move it on to the team news for the second match. So we'll start with home team Crusaders. So team news Crusaders. Scott Robinson has kept faith with the same 23 players that dominated the Hurricanes last time out, as they look to potentially jump to the top of the Super Rugby Aotearoa table with a win. It will be the Crusaders' first home match in nearly 4 months, having started the revised season with a bye before playing in Wellington last week. Cody Taylor remains as skipper after regular captain Scott Barrett's shoulder underwent surgery this week that will rule him out for the remainder of the competition. Braden Eno Hematoma retains his starting spot despite only playing the first half last week. So yeah, an unchanged 23 for the Crusaders, looking pretty dangerous. Round 3, game 2 for them, and first game at home. So let's have a look at the Chiefs. So team news for the Chiefs. Let's have a look. Team news, Chiefs. The return of All Blacks captain Sam Cane and fellow loose forward Mitchell Karpik boost the Chiefs side for their clash with the Crusaders after the pair both missed the opening 2 rounds with back issues. Cane unsurprisingly slots straight into the starting side at open side in place of Luke Jacobson, broken hand, while Karpik is named on the bench. Lachlan Boshier shifts to blind side and Peter Gus-Silakula completes the loose trio at number 8. Also in the pack, Bradley Slater starts at hooker ahead of Samisoni Tokiaho, while Mitchell Brown's return at lock sees no place in the 23 for Tupu Vaya. The final change comes on the wing with Solomon Alamalo replacing Sean Stevenson. So yeah, Stevenson's out of the 23, I believe, not sure why. It must be some sort of injury or sickness. And then Alamalo didn't play the first game, was on the bench for the second game, and now he's starting wing for the third game. But I do rate Alamalo. I think he's going to go really well, especially in combination with Damien McKenzie. So yeah, that's the team news. Let's go over to Super Brew and have a look at the lineups. So if we have a look, starting with the Crusaders, their front row is Moody, Taylor, and Michael Alatoa. That's a quality, front row there, like 2 All Blacks and a Samoan international. They're up against Aiden Ross, Bradley Slater, and Nepo Laulala. So the Chiefs got at least 1 All Black in there. Aiden Ross, reasonable, and Bradley Slater probably deserves that start after Tokiaho has been a little bit poor with his, core roles as a hooker. So yeah, but you definitely have to say Crusaders have the wood there. If you go into the locks, Sam Whitelock and Mitchell Dunche for the Crusaders, and Mitchell Brown and Naitoa Akoi for the Chiefs. So good to see Mitchell Brown back for the Chiefs. That would definitely help. Naitoa Akoi has been playing pretty well, but obviously pretty green, pretty underdone at Super Rugby level. Up against obviously the quality of Sam Whitelock, he needs no introduction, and Mitchell Dunche, who's been in and around Canterbury and the Crusaders for a number of years now. So again, looking at that type 5 for the Crusaders, it looks really rock solid. Chiefs look reasonable, but I think you have to give it to the Crusaders there. If you go into the back row, Crusaders have Cullen Grace at 6, Billy Harmon 7, and Fetu Douglas at 8. Chiefs have Lachlan Boshier at 6, Sam Cane at 7, and Peter Silakula at 8. So the 8s are a little bit underdone in terms of I think there are maybe a few more stars in and around the place in New Zealand rugby. But good luck to Douglas and Silakula. They'll keep each other honest. Grace is always exciting at 6. He's had a great season. He's sort of like a swing man. He's like a 6/lock, certainly like a 3rd line out option. Lachlan Boshier, very good at the breakdown. He's going to be doing that in association with Sam Cane from 7. So you would expect Boshier and Cane 6 and 7 to really go hard at Billy Harmon, the Crusaders 7. And that could be a place where the Chiefs have a little bit of dominance. I think they're definitely going to need to target that and win that area. If we go into the back line, got Varun Hall and Richie Moanga for the Crusaders. Got Brad Weber and Aaron Cruden for the Chiefs. So that's pretty all-star there really. That's 2 great halves pairings up against each other. It'll be very exciting to see what they both produce. In the midfield for the Crusaders, you've got Jack Goodhue and Braden Enoa. For the Chiefs, you've got Anton Leonard-Brown and Quinn Tupaia. Quinn Tupaia, another sort of you would say based on experience, etc. A little bit light, but he's had a really great game last week against the Blues, and he's in combination with Anton Leonard-Brown. I think they look really good. Leonard-Brown, quality player, but Jack Goodhue and Braden Enoa, they could well be a All Black midfield, rock solid combination over the next few years as well. So yeah, big clash there in the midfield. If you look at the back 3, Crusaders have George Bridge, Sevu Reece, and Will Jordan. The Chiefs have Sean Wainui, Solomon Alaimalo, and Daniel McKenzie. So again, a lot of firepower, a lot of fireworks to be had there Certainly no sort of mismatch in terms of youth and experience. It's going to be good. I think it's going to be good out wide. Really look forward to Will Jordan matching up with Damien McKenzie. That should be really exciting. And then, even Ale Malo and Wainui, pretty experienced operators at Super Rugby level, taking on Bridge and Reese. So, yeah. Got to say, again, Crusaders looking pretty good, primarily looking very good in the tight 5. I think the Chiefs look really good in the back row. And then, the halves in the midfield is going to be very willing, and the back 3 is going to be very willing. So this should be a pretty good affair. I think it should be a pretty good game if everybody steps up and plays to their potential, right? And the weather plays its part too. If you go to the bench though, who the Crusaders got there? They've got Brodie McAllister, your backup hooker, George Bauer and Ollie Jaeger. Your props, Chiefs have got Tokiaho, O'Neill and Glendenhouse. So, not exactly stellar star names there for either team in terms of, bench production. But, I think, reasonable, but, nothing too stellar. If you go into the, essentially the remaining, or the 2 remaining sort of, forward reserves for both teams, you've got Luke Romano covering the locks for the Crusaders, and Ethan Blackadder covering the back row. For the Chiefs, you've got Adam Thompson, stalwart, covering, I guess, the locks, but maybe also 6, and Mitchell Karpik as pretty much an out-and-out 7. So yeah, pretty interesting. I really will be interested to see, how Sam Cane and Mitchell Karpik probably perform in tandem. Sam Cane will probably play, that first sort of 50, 60 minutes at the 7, and then switch over to say 6 or 8. With Karpik on. So I think they're really going to try and attack the breakdown, spoil ball, and make it a tight contest. And they've got the firepower to do that. But a couple of old salts there as well. Luke Romano backing up the locks, Adam Thompson backing up the locks, backing up 6. Pretty good to see some really like high quality experience from both teams there. If you go into the back line, Crusaders have Mitchell Drummond as your backup 9. David Havili as your utility, essentially backup 10, 15, and he can back up the midfield like he did last week. And then they have Lester Fainganuku backing up the wings. So yeah, pretty good, pretty deep there in the back line, or the backline reserves for the Crusaders. Chiefs have Milo Harris, who, apologies, last week kept saying that he was a pretty weird left field, 6th forward pick, and I was totally wrong about that. He's a legit halfback, so no room for Titoiroa Tahurerangi, but Milo Harris to come on and provide energy behind Weber. They've got Caleb Trask, who's essentially the backup 10 to Cruden, and then they've got Tunua Manu, who's pretty much backing up the midfield. So, perhaps a little bit light in the back 3. Not exactly sure who would be covering that. I guess you would say Quinn Tapia and or Anton Leonard-Brown are sort of covering the wings from their starting positions in the centres, and I guess you're really just hoping that Damien McKenzie doesn't get injured too much. I guess Ale Malo can push across the fullback and do that role as well from starting at wing. But yeah, not really much to back up the back 3 there for the Chiefs. They could be in for a bit of a dogfight there. So yeah, 2 really good teams throwing down. Again, I feel for both of these games, it's kind of like I'm really looking forward to the return match of these 2 games. So Chiefs at home to the Crusaders, Highlanders at home to Chiefs at home to the Crusaders, yes, and Highlanders at home to the Blues. I think those will be really competitive games. With the Blues at home, with the Crusaders at home, just that round 2 bye for the Highlanders maybe being a little bit momentum killing. The Chiefs coming off an 0-2 record, losing their first 2 games. I do see this being good games. Certainly the Crusaders Chiefs going to be a very good game, I think. But I think home advantage is definitely going to be really important here. Which is obviously favouring the Blues in the first game and the Crusaders in the second game. So I guess that's pretty much where I'm at with that. That was nice. I got through that in 25 minutes. That's really what I want. So the last thing to do here is to sort of talk a little bit about maybe just give a little bit of history in terms of like last 10 games in the two between the two sides in both fixtures, and then obviously what I think in terms of who's going to win these things. I'm not going to provide margin. I'll tell you my margin on Monday, Tuesday when I do the review or the wrap up, but I won't tell margin before the games because I'm actually in a betting pool or like a fantasy pool. And I don't want to give away the margins to my friends who might be watching this. So, history between Blues and Highlanders. So, last 10 results sees the Blues winning 3, the Highlanders winning 7. Those 3 wins for the Blues were 3 home wins. The Highlanders have won 4 at home and 3 away. So yeah, Highlanders have a pretty good record against the Blues over the last 10 matches, which is roughly 4 or 5 years, I guess, between those two teams. But this really is a different Blues this year, right? So these historic results maybe don't count for too much when you're taking into account the Blues being involved in a game. It will be a very good performance from the Highlanders if they are to pick up another win away here against the Blues. I'd be very surprised. But that is what it is. So Blues have won 3 of the last 10, Highlanders won 7 of the last 10, and 3 of those have been away. So it's possible. And then let's have a look at the history of the Crusaders and Chiefs. So the last 10 results between the Crusaders and Chiefs. Crusaders have won 5, the Chiefs have won 5. So very interesting. Crusaders have won 3 at home and 2 away. The Chiefs have won 3 at home and 2 away. So again, like if anyone's going to come down with their backs against the wall, Chiefs Mana, shout out and do something, do a number on the Crusaders at home, spoil the party, and get themselves back into the competition. I think it's going to be the Chiefs, and I think that record, which shows the last 10 results there, 5 wins to the Crusaders, 5 to the Chiefs. Both teams being able to win at home, both teams being able to win away. I think it makes for a really interesting match. And also, the Chiefs are actually on a 2-game winning streak here. They've won the last 2 games. They've won their last 2 games against the Crusaders. So that's pretty interesting too. But yeah, again, home advantage could be pretty big for the Crusaders here, I think. But yeah, pretty interesting little setup there, or like a little bit of historical, what's been going on between these two teams in the last 10 games. It's definitely worth having a look. So, for me, I generally say Super Rugby derby matches, New Zealand Super Rugby derby matches, I usually give the home team a +10 advantage. So basically I'm saying +10 to the Blues, +10 to the Crusaders, just to start things off. And then if I look at the Blues and Highlanders, do I think that the Highlanders can close the 10-point gap on the Blues in Auckland? Round 3, the way the Blues are playing? No, I don't. So I see that being a win for the Blues. Do I see the Chiefs being able to close the 10-point gap on the Crusaders, away in Christchurch, like the way the Crusaders started last week? No, I don't. So I see it as a win for the Crusaders. So I see the Blues winning game 1, and I see the Crusaders winning game 2. And I think it's going to be fairly significant. I don't think it's going to be a 1-7 kind of contest. I think in both games you're probably looking at 10+ to the Blues, 10+ to the Crusaders. That's my thinking. So there you go, 28 minutes, going on 29, that's awesome. So thank you very much for listening to that. It's just a quick preview of what's going to happen this weekend in round 3. Obviously next weekend will be round 4 for Super Rugby Aotearoa, but it will also be week 1 for Super Rugby AU, which will be great. So we'll have 4 games to talk about there, which will be great. Yeah, so signing off, try and get this done in basically 30 minutes. So thanks very much for listening, thanks very much for watching if you did. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel here, that would be awesome for me. And also, can you go and find me on Facebook? Again, just search the Rugby Gods podcast. You should find my Facebook page there. Give me a like. I put the videos there, but I also put other things there too. So I add a little bit more content there. Obviously at YouTube here, I just do these, just do these podcasts. So yeah, subscribe please on YouTube here, and give me a like on Facebook at the Rugby Gods podcast. That'd be awesome. If you have a look at the About tab on this channel, you should find a link to the Facebook page, and you should see a Gmail email that I use for the Rugby Gods podcast. So you can contact me through that as well. But yeah, thanks a lot. So 30 minutes done. Actually managed to be on time for once. And yeah, pretty much going to peace out there. Hope you had a great week. Where I am right now is Friday night. So yeah, enjoy your weekends and enjoy the games. And yeah, I'll be back on Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday actually, to do a wrap up of the 2 games, see how my picks went, and see what happens, right? So thanks a lot for that. Ka kite anō. Bye for now.